Hello, my name is Henry Keane. We're UATV English. We're online. This is not my war, some say. Ukraine is far, and I have nothing to do with its fight for freedom and sovereignty, they say. Is it even a fight for freedom and sovereignty? Some even are asking. Well, it is a great honor and pleasure that all these questions are not really questions from my fellow compatriots Latvians. Maybe because we in Latvia already been under Soviet boot once and we know exactly what Russia was, is and always will remain. However, paradoxically, those Latvians who fight in Ukraine for our mutual core human value, freedom, some of them believe that Russia can change to the better, even though Russia have almost killed them. Meet Sarmīte Cirule, a combat medic from Latvia who saves Ukrainian lives for 3 years in a row by now. She was recently wounded and accepted our humble offer for an interview during her recovery in Kyiv. It was very hard to get your phone number, but I did it. I'm sorry. This is a different story, but I know that you've been recently wounded. Is that right?
Yes, it's correct. 30th of March. Me as a combat medic, senior combat medic, I was going to collect my soldiers. One of them, not only one of them, were heavily wounded. So the casualty, and we were attacked by FPV drone. That's what the orcs, I don't know how else to call them.
Yeah,
that's how they do it.
Put it that way.
That's how they do it, because they see that there is injury, there are wounded people.
So they're hunting.
So they're hunting. They purposely raise up the drone, and they see that the aid is coming, and then they're attacking. And they're attacking right side because they know the medics are sitting there or the commanders.
It's not that I'm surprised, really.
No, I'm not surprised. It's not my first injury, but this is the first injury in different type that there is no more artillery. You know, when also the drones fly, they see the medics are there.
Right.
That's why I was the first time injured, for example, in 2022, when our stabilization point was destroyed. The drones see that there are casualties taken care of, and then they just send artillery. But this was very personal for me. This was too personal, because this moment they've purposely hunted the person who is going to help somebody else.
You, the combat medic.
Yeah, and purposely hit my car and in my side. And then when we turned car, they dropped one other grenade. So it was so personal. So emotionally, it affected me.
I just want to make
Yeah, I had my tears, and I wouldn't say anger. I think there was anger a lot, because, as I've been saying before as well, I can help also the orcs. You know, if it's need medically, I don't mind to help them as well.
You don't mind?
No. I am medic.
Exactly.
I am medic.
This was actually my next question. I mean, there are a lot of places to go as a combat medic. Why Ukraine? It is personal.
It is personal because for example, it's very close to the Latvian border. That's one. It's very personal to us, because this is what I've been saying. Yeah, but that war, but there is all over the place, you know, around the world there are some kind of military conflicts, or I could say even a war, you know. And to Ukraine, I wanted to come already in 2015. The war broke out in 2014. I worked as a doctor on the ship in that time, because I've been nurse, then I educated, I become a doctor. I worked on the ship as a doctor, you know, and then I wanted to come to help Ukraine, but we had different law. I could have 25 years in prison for that help. But now when with this full invasion, the Latvian government changed the law. They changed, and they had no other choice, because everybody was so scared, you know. Nobody.
That much is true.
I don't want to say in English very bad word, but sometimes I want to say it, you know.
Say it.
Nobody wanted to piss off Putin. Okay? We also in Latvia, but the monuments and everything, let them go, you know. But in this time, at least, they did it. And of course, there was no question. First, of course, I wasn't sure, will they attack Latvia? How close they will come to Latvia? And when I see the Latvia is more safe, Then I said, okay, go to Ukraine. That was the first, because it's very close to Latvia.
I know.
Another, my younger
and raised there.
sisters, the father is Ukrainian. There's a mix, like a lot of Ukrainian, Russian mix,
Right,
and all this. So it was personal. Also, when I come in 2015, because I didn't know how far the war will break, how far it will go. And for the respect to my sisters and their father, I came here. And I came also to see why I can help, and the situation in Ukraine and everything. Now there was no, everybody who knows my conscience, everybody who knows how I think and how I work, there had no question why. There was question when. And then there was this free space, and I came.
Coming also from Latvia, I've been born and raised there. It also wasn't much of a question for me.
No.
I thought that I need to go. I just need to go. I just need to be here. But there should be something more. So you're not afraid, and you're helping people, and you're on Sunday coming back on the front line, right?
I am a Christian. I am not fanatic, but I am strong in the Holy Trinity, in God. And as a Christians, we always have to live that this could be our last day. But in the same time, we live for the future. Okay, we live for tomorrow, we live for the afternoon, but in a way, we have to be ready to die any time. That's what Christianity teaches us. So in a way, it helps me to be here. Plus, I have a bachelor's degree in theology and religious science, and I study history in master's program. Now, of course, it's on the hold and academy leave because I'm here in Ukraine. So it's all the historical matter. It's a matter of conscience. It's my conscience. I cannot different. For example, when was the COVID outbreak, people like medics, they were afraid to work in COVID departments because they died. And medics died, and a lot of medics died. Not so many in Latvia, but still died. So, and then there were no nurses and doctors, no this. And I said, I just came from the ships. I was okay, I didn't need money, nothing, And I said, okay, I will go as a volunteer. But the hospital said, no, we don't need volunteers. You will work as a medic in the hospital.
Exactly.
So, and that's why also in Ukraine, I came to Ukraine as a volunteer. I wanted 2 weeks to see the situation, return to Latvia, get the aid, and come back. And they said, no. We are medic and no voluntary, because if something will happen to you, your government can't help. Our government can't help because you are just a foreigner. You are just a volunteer. So everything has to be done by yourself. And we will not let you go to Frontline as a volunteer. So you will become a part of the ZSU.
And now you are a part of a ZSU.
Yeah, in a way forced. It didn't want, but
you have to.
Yeah, I have to. So, okay, I'm a law-abiding person, so I do.
I'm not going to ask you a question when this war is going to be over. You obviously are going to stay here until it is. And what then? You're going to go back to Latvia?
It's so interesting. From this injury, I was always saying, I have these ideas. I want to, first of all, finish my master's degree in history. Then I want to study further in the doctorship, in my PH. I don't know, it will be in Latvia, it will be in Ukraine. Right. But I just remembered one of my commanders, before I used to be, I can say honestly, I was in Viskarpatska Sich of imenia Olega Kucina. And one of the commanders said, Semi, you have a plans. Wow, you are an amazing person. He says, I don't ask nobody, I don't ask nobody, what plans do you have after the war? Because to everybody to whom I ask, they're killed. And I was like, but me as a person, I will survive, I will live, and God will protect me, and no, realistically, look, He loves me. I have a lot of prayers, but after this injury, I was like, I remember I was a lot of crying, and I was sitting in the ward, and I'm like sitting on the bench, and I'm like, if I need, I am ready to die for Ukraine. So, because I know what I need to do. I am medic, and I know that if I'm not there, then the person will die, and the war is changed because of the drones. So if you ask me what kind of plans I have after the war, I have plans, but the first, I need to survive. I need to stay alive. So that's the reality. I lost a lot of medics, paramedics, okay? People who've been working on stabilization points. They've been crossing from shop to stabilization point, and there is explosion, for example, and there are no doctor and the nurse, for example, okay? Maybe, we don't know when it happens. Maybe I will survive and I will be old and die in my own bed, you know, because we don't know when we die. So it's all in God's hands, so okay, but I am very realistic.
Just a couple of 100 meters from here, there are 2 Latvian flags.
Yeah, maybe we'll be third as well. I know. It's hard for me to go there. It was always hard because it's, first of all, the Maidan, you know, all the situation, and it's not sorted, it's not resolved, because the Ukrainians were killed by government bodies who are supposed to protect them. I think it's this issue not resolved yet.
Do you think it ever will be?
Until it will, when the people will be judged, punished, maybe.
Held
Maybe not.
accountable for what they did.
Yes, those who are accountable, they have to be responsible and for own deeds. So they need to be, because otherwise, you know, for example, this is the issue. That's a big issue where we have actually the problem, because when the Nazis, when they did, so there were Nuremberg, you know, and they were punished, they were put in prisons, there were the death penalties and everything. Communist was never judged. Communist is doing what they want. So they were, and they continue to do it. And that's a problem, because if Russia, as a country who took over the Soviet Union and is very proud of this, would pay for that, we wouldn't have this war. And actually, this is the situation where the responsibility is of the rest of the world, democratic countries. Because Nazism we punished, but communism, who did actually even worse, they were not punished. And that's why they continue, and that's why they think that they are courageous, they do the victory, they are the saviors, the protectors, you know, and...
Well, we've seen that, Gott mit uns, and things
Yeah.
like that. They always do God something with their
Yeah.
dirty deeds.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Russia will ever change?
I believe.
Really?
Yes, I believe, but their system needs to be... At the moment, the problem is opposition is destroyed. At least that's how I see. I don't see opposition. Or the opposition is destroyed, or opposition is somewhere hiding, and I don't know what
But
waiting.
it comes from the nation to have an opposition, isn't it?
Look, every normal person who's been thinking and analyzing all this time what's happening, when the Europe, democratic countries were sitting and Putin was working very hard on his mission. You know, like Goebbels and all this. And it's like, how many, 25 years he's in the president?
Almost 30 years.
Yeah, he's been investing in Western
Zelensky
countries.
was 17 when he
Yeah,
went around.
so exactly. So Putin was investing in the democratic countries, you know, democratic countries, yeah, propaganda. In Russia, very, very big propaganda. And people, if we think carefully, how many people think? Majority people want to work, they want to eat, they want to sleep, they want to drive their car, you know. I call them plankton. They just live daily life, you know. I don't care, whatever. And they just take information without analyzing or judging, or analyzing, realize, oh shit, but what can I change? I can change and continue to live. And this is the Russian society now, fed with information what is given to them. But a lot of people left Russia, and those people who left, some of them are in Latvia and they do damage, in Latvia as a one journalist, and it's a big pain for me. I hope somebody will do something about this. But another time, I see that there are Russians who left Russia, they live abroad, and they support Ukraine. If they will be staying in Russia, they will be put in prison for that.
That much is true. Going back to Latvia in our thoughts, thinking about the people that are waiting for Putin to come. It's not just an issue of language. They don't want to talk language, but they despise everything Latvian. I've been experiencing that myself. People will be telling me that, oh, this is Latvians. We've built them a fancy, whatever they've built, whatever the infrastructure of the Soviet Union was. It was forced into Latvia. Latvia was occupied. And they never said that it happened. There were no occupation. Russia is great, that greatness, the venom of that greatness, the virus of it.
They forgot that there was no Russia in that time. There was Soviet Union. Russia was when was the Tsar, yeah, the Tsar, Peter, Alexander. So there was no Russia. There was a Soviet Union. And in Russia, from if we speak in Latvia, the very bad Russification, of course, were sent from the many countries. The problem was actually a very big problem, not only from Russification, but also when the Soviet Union army had to leave Latvia, that those who realized what's happening, so they went to earlier pension, and we let them and their families to stay. I think Lithuania did not let this, they asked them to leave. So anyway, in Latvia stayed these pre-pensioner, I don't know how to say, my English is also limited because now I'm only in Ukraine.
Senior age, let's put it that way.
Yeah, but about the senior age, because they always lived in the different situation. Because of the part of the Russification, they lived in their own bubble.
That much is true, Sarmīte. But I mean, I was amongst the first journalists in the world to get to Bucha to see what it was.
But there are Latvians who are also waiting for
Exactly.
Putin, because they have different.
So, I mean, what is the point of all that? They don't believe that Bucha existed. They told me, looking into my eyes, they said it never happened. It was staged, whatever that means. And but we want Russia to come and join, like Daugavpils, for example. We want it to be part of Russian Empire or Soviet Empire, whatever the hell is going on in their heads. Is there a way? And Ukraine is already. I mean, the war is raging here for 3 years, and it's impossible to not see it. They don't want to see it. They turn a blind eye on that, and they're still waiting for Russia.
Because
Why?
they have different propaganda. I don't know. Actually, there is any point about discussion because they live in the different propaganda. They live in the different bubble. They live in different understanding. Latvia is Nazist, fascist, speaking dog's language, Sabacha, Mova, and they've been. It's actually, in a way, I feel so pity. I feel so pity for those who live in Latvia and they're not Latvians. They don't want to be part of the Latvia because they have no land. They don't see that they are belonging, they belong to Latvia. They don't feel themselves, that this is their homeland. But in the same time, they don't go to their Russia, their Soviet Union, extra. There are also Moldovans, also Ukrainians who have this idea, or Belarusians, many nationalities. But they don't go also to their countries. And they're like a no man's land, So in a way, I feel sorry for them. Actually, I should maybe be angry, but I feel sorry for them. Because I know they've been their own choice, but
I'm not asking for a way out of this conflict. Maybe the time will change it. I am happy to see in your eyes that you truly believe that even Russia can change.
Russia can change.
I mean, I have a different point of view on that country, but maybe I'm way more damaged and I don't have enough belief. What about your people in your regiment, people that you meet, people that you help? Do they believe that Russia can change? Is that important for them? I mean, I've heard from everyone I knew in the Збройні Сили України, in the Ukrainian army, that Ukraine will always have to be ready for another war, whatever it comes, whatever this is the way that Russia is changed. This war is just another war, and another war will happen.
Answering about the Latvia, the problem is we have this integration institute. We have different kind of institutes and programs to do, this integration, but it never worked. They just use their millions, and that's why I want to ask for the responsibility. Another thing about the Daugavpils, let's be honest, how much interested also Latvians are to do something in Daugavpils, except those Latvians who live in Daugavpils, okay? Because we Latvians, we actually have to say we also live in our own bubble. And the saddest part is also so far been, there's one, how you say this, Russian speaking, when the Putin came with this idea of Russian speaking. So we had this problem. We also, for the peace of mind, because we are like this, we will speak in Russian. About regiment, about the war. When Ukraine will be strong country, and if Ukraine would be strong country now as well, sadly Ukraine, and the normal, it's like normal thinking Ukrainians, they understand, because they say if we wouldn't have this corruption, if we would not destroy the army, the forces, then Russia would never attack us. And we trusted America, we trusted Europe, we trusted everybody. They will protect, because we have pacts, written for this. We had third biggest the nuclear weapon country. We trusted them, and we should never trust them. Yeah, that's what the guys say, and it's actually, and me as a Latvian, yeah, somehow I understand this situation. Because we've been betrayed as well, before. And if we speak about the war, of course, that's the thing is, like, it has to be, this evil needs to stop here, because otherwise it's encouragement. Hey, if Putin can do, why can't China do? Why can't North Korea do? Why can't Arabic countries do something about the neighbor countries or the African countries? But they've been doing it anyway. But why can't they go more full invasion? And why can't they take other countries? Like, hey, everybody in world allowed Putin to do it. Crimea, it was the democratic countries allowed it to happen. Nobody stopped him. And nobody is stopping Putin for 3 years. Nobody. Putin is doing what he's doing. Everybody is allowing him to do it. Sanctions in Russia only affects the normal people. I mean, not his people. If you read carefully, the billionaires, they become more richer, and they are his friends and his surrounding people. Okay, it doesn't affect. So these sanctions and everything, it's bullshit. When the world will finally do something about this, then we will have a talk. How fast war will finish in Ukraine. At the moment, it's just a la. Sorry. Maybe I will be killed. Maybe now I will be killed for this one.
Oh, come on. I'm not letting anyone hurt you anymore. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
For your attitude, for your blood, literally.
Yeah.
And for your enormous help, and for your big heart that you invest in other people. And this heart is beating now, I hope, in me too. You're encouraging, indeed. Maybe there is something that you want to say in Latvian to Latvians, so to yourself.
Mana mīļā tauta, lūdzu nepazaudējiet neatkarību. Es tiešām uzmanīgi vēroju un lasu visu, kas notiek Latvijā. Un es ļoti ceru, ka tas, ko es daru šeit, nav bezjēdzīgs. Es atvainojos, esmu tagad sajukusi arī valodās. Bet tur ir tas skaistums, ka mēs maza nācija, maza tauta, mēs varam runāt daudzās valodās un to savu bagātību, ar savu inteliģenci aizsniegt pārējos. Bet mans lūgums ir jums, ejiet uz vēlēšanām. Es nevēlos propagandu, bet ejiet lūdzu uz vēlēšanām, neklusējiet. Un lai ir tie gaišie spēki, un lai tas viss, kas notiek Latvijā, lai ir nevis privātās kabatās, bet lai tas ir uz Latvijas izaugsmi, jo mēs esam ļoti bagāta valsts patiesībā. Tik problēma ir tā, ka tas visus šos gadus lielākā vai mērākā ir kaut kādās privātās kabatās. Tālūk, ja ir spēcīga Latvija, tad arī nevienam tā īsti negribās Latviju aiztikt. Un tas būtu negodīgi pret mūsu puišiem, kuriem bija 16 gadi, 15 gadi, 18 gadā līdz 20 gadam, kas cīnījās par mūsu neatkarību. Un arī tiem, kas ir gājuši bojā barikādēs vai kas... izsūtītiem cilvēkiem, tūkstošiem, kas tika izsūtīti, lai viņu nāves nav bezjēdzīgas. Tāpēc dariet visu, lai nav atkal izsūtīšanas, lai nav nāve, lai mēs varam dzīvot. Un nevis vienkārši eksistēt, bet dzīvot. Vai ne? Paldies jums. Un paldies tiem, kas to jau darat. Lai veselais saprāts uzvar.
Dievs svēt Latviju.
Jā.
Thank you so very much. Again, I mean, it was really emotional.